Hello, viewers. For those of you who may be listening to the podcast, thank you for tuning in. You are welcome into the Perisos Horizon chat room. I am your host, Patricia Jifamen Salakai, a communication and leadership coach. I'm the founder of Perisos Horizon and a two-time self-published author. My books, Fearless, Fabulous, and Flamboyant, as well as Untangling That Tongue, No More Fear of Public Speaking, can be purchased online by Amazon Kindle. These two books are actually the foundation of the chat room series. So listen to those fearless, fabulous, and flamboyant tales that is getting people to focus on their passion, their dreams, working at it one day at a time, and they keep scaling higher heights. Today in the studio, I have an amazing gentleman. Yes, I know a lot of you were asking, is it only for female? Is it only for women? No, it is for everybody who has that inspirational story to share with us. We have Kwesi Kwatia, and he is a smooth spoken and affable master of ceremony. Some may call it MC or master compare, who often works with corporate and social events organizers. He also works with companies to make their events memorable and exciting. It was at one such occasion that I met Kwesi. I don't know whether he still recalls, but somewhere along the line, I will tease his mind to find out whether he recalls where we met and under what circumstances. With over 10 years experience in the events and promotion industry, including working on radio and television, he has carved a niche for himself. And today we are going to have a wonderful discussion about the life of an MC or event MC. You are most welcome, Kwesi.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Good to be here.
Yes, it is such a joy to have you in our studio today.
And I'm also blessed to be here. I mean, it's a great platform, and I thank God for today.
Yes, today we are going to have a conversation about the life of an event MC. But before we go into the nitty gritties of that, please tell us more about yourself because I'm wondering there should be something to this MC Kwesi Kwetia, and our audience will definitely want to find out more.
All right. So I started out as an event person. When I was in, I think Central University, I was putting together bits and pieces of events, more on CV writing, and then also how to get it together. I had a friend that I was doing this with. So after Central University, I happened to jump onto radio, Choice FM, and then from there, I had opportunity working with GBC, a UN a game show that was on live TV, and then also I went on Unique FM, and then I had the opportunity of working with Media Magic. At that time, Miss Ghana was being given back to Media Magic from, I think, Shelley from Pomanso. So I got the opportunity to work with a very great event person and manager, Christopher Adama, as the operations manager for Media Magic, and then I handled Miss Ghana originally for 2 years until we handed over Miss Ghana to Inner Party. From there, I decided I wanted to become a
I will
master
let
of
you
ceremony.
hold that thought on at the point it was handed over to Inner Party. Because for our viewers or our listeners, I am sure they are wondering how long did it take for you to build this kind of experience? Obviously, when your mom and dad had that outdooring ceremony, you did not just start crying and screaming, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this event. So we would like to learn a bit more about
Okay.
the process that it took for you to identify the life of an MC as the one that you want for yourself. So we
Okay.
know the school, the university days, but what
Mhm.
actually clicked for you to think about making it a profession or a
All right.
lifestyle?
So, well, this is how I have to put it. I've always loved to stand in front of people and speak. So even from primary, JSS, SSS, whenever a teacher comes to the class and a question is posed, I'm always the first person to raise my hand to speak. Even if I'm wrong, I don't care. I've always been someone who would like to speak, and speaking has always been something that I've always loved. So all my life, I would get up, and if there's a situation that somebody would have to speak, I would say what I have to say, and it's even that helped me because even when I went to senior secondary school, we were a lot in one room, in one class. Nobody was speaking to anybody, and then a senior comes to the class and he's speaking to all of us, and I was the first person to raise my hand. From then on, I got a name. It became very popular among students because most of them told me afterwards that by raising my hand and speaking, that actually broke the silence that was between all of us and the mood. So I'm always someone who
Okay.
would want to speak.
Now you've taken me back to the classroom. In
Hmm.
those days, there were some students that would always want to break the silence. And so as soon as the teacher
Hmm.
left the classroom, you would find them either drumming on the table or cracking
Yeah,
a joke. And the moment the teacher walks back in, they are quiet
they
and
are quiet.
get a pin drop. So were you
Hmm.
that kind of person, or yours was just to step up and be the MC, as it were?
Yeah, I'm always that kind of person who would want that engagement, that interaction. So when the teacher comes, I'm ready to talk to the teacher. And I
Okay.
do it without fear. I don't know where I got that from, but I think I got that from my mom. Yeah, my mom is more like that. She doesn't hold on to grudges. Whatever happens today, she would say it today.
Mm-hmm.
It would not it would not go on to tomorrow. So I'm always that kind of person that would want to engage people, regardless of who you are, where you come from. I've always been that kind of person. So any opportunity that I have at any time when somebody comes around, I would ask questions or I would engage you per the situation that is happening around.
Okay. But would you also say that it isn't just those that are sort of fearless or bold that can go into the MC profession, but an introvert can also learn how to MC? And
Anybody at all.
how will such a person go about it?
All right, anybody at all can go into that. I wouldn't say that I was fearless. I would say that because I had an upbringing where my mom is always, assertive. She talks. She's not afraid to talk. I just built up that from childhood. So that is me. However, if you are an introvert, that doesn't stop you from also speaking up your mind or
Mm.
being able to interact with people, engage people. You can do that. It takes you owning up or saying to yourself that, okay, let me raise my hand. I would want to speak. Or let's say there's an opportunity for prayer. Who would want to pray for us? Then you get up to pray. Okay, there's an opportunity for vote of thanks. Who would want to do that for us? You raise your hand and then you do that. These are ways in which it would bring you to stand in front of people so that you can also speak to people. So anybody at all can decide to do that. All that you have to do is to decide that I would want to take that opportunity, or you can offer yourself. Let's say you attend a church and there's always the opportunity for someone to actually do an announcement, but they don't have people that would actually come out and say that I would want to do it. Give yourself that opportunity, or you can go to the overseer of the church and say that, listen, say, Pastor, I would want to do the announcements every Sunday or after church or before church service. I would want to do a video about it and then announce. These are ways in which you can start
You
your
touched on
journey.
something. You
Yeah,
said
your
you
journey
said
has been.
to make a video out of it. And I love the fact that you brought that aspect because of the era in which we find ourselves. So
Mhm.
for somebody who is in the church and is looking at being part of the announcement team, what
Mhm.
are some of the ways? Because you're talking about building that capacity to learn how to be a good MC. How should they
Oh,
go about it
all
and use
right,
that
I'm
as
going to
a
give you a
platform?
okay. Let me give you a perfect example. When I started going to my church, I realized that whenever there was an activity, mostly the pastors are the ones that handled. They were more like the MCs. So there was this particular day, it was Valentine's Day, and they wanted an MC for that because the pastor was a bit busy. And they didn't know that I could, speak because I'm that quiet type. I like to observe. I'm a people's person, but then I'm that type that if you look at me from afar, you think that, oh, I'm very antisocial. But then when you get closer, you realize that, oh, no, I'm not like that at all. So I told the pastor that I can do that. They could not believe that. So on the day of the Valentine's Day activity, it was a love feast. They were very shocked at the way I delivered and interacted with everybody. And from then on, they started giving me roles to play in terms of announcement. I offered myself
Yeah.
because whilst I was going to church, I realized that every time there was an activity that was out of preaching and other things, it was
Mm.
mostly the church pastor that does that, and I felt that it was so much work on the church pastor. But then I thought, no, I could own up and then say I can do this. So I decided I wanted to do it, and I went straight and I said I want to do it and I can do it. And they gave me the opportunity and I did. And from then on, every time there was an activity or there is an activity, they call on me to do it. And I gladly do that.
That's right. And that is part of the things that I talk about in my book. You've detailed a lot of things that shows that indeed you are fearless. Fearless simply being the fact that look, you feel the fear, you feel the hesitation, but you take that bold step, you take
Yeah.
action anyway. And you're fabulous because you're always looking at ways to improve on what you're doing. You're aspiring towards excellence, you're aspiring towards giving value and quality. And the fact that you thought of alleviating the workload or the stress on the pastor alone shows that indeed you are fabulous because you are looking out to
Thank you.
solving a problem or
Yeah.
solve providing a service that would supply that need for someone. And so
Yeah.
that is an essential point that you just made. Now,
Yeah.
you also touched on the fact that it's taking away work and you going into it is work. It is
Yeah.
your work. It is your passion.
Yeah.
We always
Yeah.
hear about the fact that if you're doing something that you love, then you don't have to work a day in your life. And you
Yes.
obviously seem to be in that category. You are doing what you love,
Yes.
what you're passionate about, but it's also
Yeah.
work. Somebody is thinking right now, oh, is MC a profession? Is MCing a work that I can go into or a career that I can look up to provide for my daily needs? What would you say to that person?
Yes, it is. In 2015, I decided to become a full-time master of ceremony. And that's what I've been doing up till today. And I have no regrets, and I don't think I ever would have any regrets about it. It's about positioning yourself.
Hmm.
There are a lot of events happening every now and then: outdoorings, weddings, conferences, awards, fashion shows. They are
Hmm.
happening almost every week. When you put yourself out there, you begin to realize that activities are happening almost every week. And you've got to, reach out to these places and make sure that you avail yourself so that they can see that you can do it. Because when I started out, I started, speaking to event organizers and then people that are organizing events in terms of like schools, graduations, etc. And some of them I offered to do it for free, just for people to see me and know that I can do it, and also for me to be able to project myself into that space for people to see that, okay, this is an MC and this is what he does, so we can use
That's
him
right.
whenever we want him. Yeah.
You positioned yourself. You position yourself, and at the initial stages, you even went to the extent of working for people for free. You see, there is
Yeah.
something I mentioned when I touch on the topics that speaks about being flamboyant. Being flamboyant is not just necessarily showing off and just being out there, but it's about what are you doing that would attract somebody to you. What are you
Yeah.
doing that would attract somebody to want to partner or collaborate with you or want to find out how you can bring value to their table. And so you realize that a lot of the times we are all doing these things in our own way, but we forget that when you collaborate, it actually puts you out on other platforms much bigger than if you're going alone. So now tell us, you have been emceeing, serving, volunteering your time from church and then to your workplace, I believe for friends, etc. When you actually decided in 2015 to take this to the next level and make it your profession, what is giving you your livelihood, your income, etc., I know that you are balancing this together with a regular job. Now, let our viewers understand the things that you did for free or collaborated with other people and how that led you onto a higher platform.
Okay, I would want you to come again with a question because I think my feed just dropped. The volume here just
The
dropped.
next
I
one.
cannot. Can you hear me
Yes.
now?
I can hear you. So now a lot of people fail to recognize the importance of volunteering their time, their
Okay.
resources, their expertise, their talents. And they forget that as you volunteer your time or as you collaborate with others, you are you're being flamboyant because you're causing yourself not just to be fabulous in honing your skills and developing that quality of excellence in your delivery, but it is causing you to attract other like-minded people and attracting you into other spaces. So I want you to touch on that, especially because you started from the church. For those of the youth who are complaining, there's no work, there's nothing to do, they're sitting down and not honing their skills. They're sitting down and they're not showing forth what the value is in order to attract attention towards them. So I want you to touch on that.
All right. So one of the things that I've come to realize about life is when you decide to do something, the first step that you need to take is to offer yourself out
Hmm.
there to serve.
Offer yourself.
That is what you need to have in mind. You have to serve. And then out of the serving, people would notice you. From there, you begin to attract other people that would admire how you do it. And when you want to serve, you have to be very sure about what you're giving out there. You have to figure out the need that is out there and what you think you can do to actually, meet that need. And that is what gives you that service. And that is what you do to, show the kind of service that you want to provide. So this is how I decided to do. And then I started offering myself for events. I started emceeing. And then the next thing I knew, other people started calling me, how much do you charge? Then I started, putting together something that would, become my rate.
That's right.
So
So,
I started offering myself, and then
mhm,
people started seeing the value that I was bringing to bear in terms of their events. And
that's
then now other people start calling me, asking me, how much do you charge? Then I give
exactly
out a rate card.
every.
So you can't sit down and then assume that there's no work out there. I
Mm,
started going to events. I started visiting other events just to see what's going on. And then I
mhm,
started speaking to some of the organizers. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. Next time, put me on. Let me do that for you. And then
mhm.
I start doing that. And they started seeing what I can do. And then they start asking me, how much do you charge? So if you sit there and then you assume that, okay, there's no work, or okay, my certificate will get me work. Okay, I've been applying. Sometimes you don't have to apply. You can apply by actually offering yourself to do a particular service that you think you're good at. And after
Mm.
doing that service, the value that you bring to bear would actually impress on someone to call you another time to ask of a fee for that very same or that particular service that you offered.
Wonderful. And in fact, if you look at all that you have been through and observe how you have moved from one stage to the other, I believe it was all out of your service and also out of the fact that you were committed to excellence and you made people become aware. You made people become aware of the services that you are able to render that will meet or serve their needs. And so, for those of you who are looking around for work, you can have your regular, what we call salary work that pays you from one month to the other and gives you that regular paycheck. But now we want to challenge ourselves to look within us and find out the things that we are passionate about. What is it that when you do it over a long period of time and you're not even being paid for it, it gives you no hassle? What is it that you have termed a hobby, but you can look at it critically, reflect on it, and ask yourself, how can I turn this hobby into something valuable that serves the need of someone out there? And that is what we have been looking at today and discussing in the studio: the life of an MC event, the life of an event MC, or the life of an event master of ceremony. So we have been having this conversation with MC Kwesi Kwatia. For those of you who may be looking out for him, I would want you to take note of this. You can follow him on Instagram and on Facebook at Kwesi Kwatia. Is, for those who are listening to the podcast, it's at, that's the at symbol, Kwesi Kwesi Kwatia. You can send him a message via his Facebook or his Instagram, and you will be in touch with him. He can MC your social events, your corporate events, and ensure that your guests leave with a memorable thought in their minds. Okay, he is still having challenges with his device, so we would wait a bit. Let me just check and then reconnect him. Thank you. I think, yes. So we were touching on the final bit. I just shared your social media handles with our guests and our viewers. And as I mentioned early on, if you want to get in touch with Mr. Kwesi Kwatia to host any of your MC, any of your functions, whether a corporate event or a social event, you can reach him on his Instagram and Facebook accounts at Kwesi Kwatia. For those who may be listening to the podcast, Kwesi Kwatia is spelled Kwesi Kwatia. And he is back in the studio with us. We will touch on the final bits. In this COVID pandemic, a lot of activities had to go online or become virtual. Mm-hmm. How did it impact your world in terms of being an MC? How did it impact your world, and how were you able to bounce back and innovate in order to stay on the market?
All right. So, to be very sincere with you, the impact was extremely huge. It's not something to joke about. I mean, I lost a lot of jobs within the month of for March. I had a lot of engagements that I had to handle, but I had to let go of them and then, refund, etc., etc. And even March, April, May, these are events that I usually do, but then they all had to go off. However, in between time, I realized that, okay, online is becoming something that we've got to be used to right now. So
The
you've got
new
to moderate.
normal.
Yeah, the new normal. You've got to moderate sections here and there for quite a couple of companies, and then also event people. And then sometimes even some of the event organizers, they were not so sure of themselves. You've got to even talk to them just to let them know that, listen, we can get this thing done online. So these are ways in which we are all coming together to actually make it happen, so that even if we have to do it online, we get a program or the event going online. We don't have to
Exactly.
accept the
And I,
fact that
I
because
love that. You mentioned something that I want our viewers to sort of bring their minds to. As an event MC, because you know your job and you know it so well, you knew the power of motivation and persuasion, because you
Mhm.
knew that in order for you to not just stay afloat, but that ultimate desire to bring a successful end to your clients, events, cause you
Mhm.
to even motivate them and inspire them,
Yes.
let them know that it is still possible, and brainstorm around ways they can still make their events happen, even
Yeah.
through the virtual platforms. And that is one
Yes.
thing that I wanted our viewers to realize, that anyone who understands their role, when you are hit, when life throws you a curveball, you need to sort of catch that ball, bounce it, and then find innovative and creative ways to still get the job done.
Yeah.
Well done for
That's
that.
true. Thank you.
So we want to look at the other side of your life when you are not at an event serving as the MC or the master compere. You are having fun time on the countryside inside the studios at Atlantis Radio
Yeah.
87.9 FM. Tell us about the program you've been hosting at the
All right.
Atlantis.
All right. It's almost 2 years now, and I'm a fan of country music. I fell in love with country music by listening to Tommy and Enforcing, who also trained me at Rabodef. And from there, I said to myself that I would want to have my own show, my own country show. And thank God I have my own country show, and it's quite popular. It's a show that happens every Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. on Atlantis 87.9 FM. So if you're a fan of country music, you've got to join me every Sunday from 12 to 3 p.m. And I'm going to serve you with the very best of country music. The very best I know. I know you know them. You know Garth Brooks. You know
I won't let you
Randy
go
Travis.
till you have sang one.
Come again.
I won't let you go until you have sang one. So whilst you think about it, whilst you
I'm
think
not good
about
at singing.
it,
I'm not good at singing.
don't worry. With our cockroach voices, I'll support you if I know the song. But
All right.
whilst you
So
think about which song to, serenade us with, I want to touch on
okay.
your, one of your favorite quotes, and it's by one of those great, inspiring and motivational entrepreneurs of all time that I'm also very passionate about, Andrew Carnegie. And
Mm-hmm.
he is somebody who, when you read his story and go through history, you realize in the end how he transitioned or transformed the lives of other people through his philanthropic works. And he
Yeah.
said, any idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. And I just want us to wrap ourselves around some of the ideas that have been embedded in your mind for so long and become a part of you, part and parcel of you, clothing
Okay.
you, as Andrew Carnegie has said. So, can you tell us about some of those ideas that you have been nurturing in your mind.
All
Probably
right.
somebody out there has something to connect to that idea to let that light bulb turn on.
All right. So when I decided that I wanted to become a master of ceremony, I wanted to be in a certain space. I wanted to host awards. I wanted to host corporate events. So I started visualizing
Mm.
me standing in front of such people and hosting such awards. And within, or let me say, I started attracting those things to me.
Mhm.
The more I thought about them, the more I found ways in which I could do things of that nature. The more I got a lot more things coming to me in that regard. So I started attracting myself. I started getting attracted to things of that nature. I started getting attracted to awards ceremonies. I started getting attracted to corporate events. And then the next thing I knew, a friend of mine calls me for an awards. It was a surprise to me.
Wow.
So because I held that idea in my mind, I kept emphasizing on the idea. I kept, researching on ways in which I could, have an opportunity to work with that idea. I started getting attracted to things of that nature. And the next thing I knew, I was standing in front of an award ceremony and hosting it. I was standing in front of a corporate event and hosting it. So I believe that
Wow.
I believe strongly
So
that when you have an idea in your head,
so
you've got to bring, you've got to give it life. You've got to nurture that idea. And how do you do that? You've got to visualize. You've got to think about things that can make that idea, real, manifest. And
that's
by reading, by investigating, by researching, you begin to see that that idea that you have in mind will start to bear fruits for you.
That's right. This is amazing. And you have sort of summed and wrapped up a lot of things that Perissos stands for. Perissos means now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ever think or imagine. And so I am just excited that you are touching on all of these things. And no wonder we got attracted to each other in terms of watching and following each other to sharpen our communication and leadership skills and simply being inspired by each other to keep scaling higher heights in our endeavors. It has been a lovely time here with you in the studio. I look forward to having you back in the session where probably I engage you and other MCs to come and tell us how you are innovating, especially in the virtual world. Do
Thank
you have
you.
any final words for us since you don't want to
Well,
sing?
Well, my final words would be a quote that it's coming from John Asaraf. He said, "If you are interested, you will do when it is convenient, and if you are committed, you do whatever it takes." So, whatever dream that you have, whatever idea that you have, be committed and do whatever it takes to make it happen. These are my final words.
Wow, profound words indeed. And this is where we draw the curtain on our conversation today. We must stay committed and we must make sure that whatever it is that we are dreaming about, whatever it is that our hobby or our passion is, you can work at it. Find someone to mentor you, find somebody to coach you. Follow Kwesi Kwatia on his social media platforms. Learn a thing or two from him. And who knows? One day you could volunteer for one of his events and support him, and by the time you're done, you would have shortened your own learning curve. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're watching on Facebook, please follow our Facebook page at Perisas Horizon. If you are interested on appearing on the show, you know what to do. Send me a message and let me hear that fearless, fabulous, and flamboyant tale you have got in there. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.